Tim is confronted by painful memories from his past, while Todd wrestles with private concerns as Theo grows increasingly jealous. Next week, Asha Allahan makes a desperate move, leaving her father, Dev, both furious and devastated as he realizes the extent of her struggles. Elsewhere, Abi Webster slips up, and her secret relationship with Carl finally comes to light in front of Kevin. Tim Metcalf reconnects with a former lover, though their shared history turns out to be more complicated than it first appears. Meanwhile, Todd Grimshaw quietly attends a hospital consultation regarding bowel cancer, keeping it hidden from his overbearing partner, Theo Silverton. 4 Coronation Street teasers for next week. Number 1. Asha Allahan ends up in hospital following a suicide attempt. After celebrating their wedding night at a hotel, Bernie Winter admits she's uneasy about Asha's behavior. At the shop, an exhausted Asha swigs wine straight from the bottle, then abruptly instructs Brody Michaelis to look after the counter before storming off. Later, Theo finds a tearful Asha slumped on a bench in Victoria Gardens, clutching an empty bottle. He quickly calls for help, and Amy Barlow notifies Dev, while paramedics check on Asha and ask Dev and Amy whether she might have also taken drugs along with the alcohol. As Dev anxiously waits in A&E, Sienna gently breaks the news that drugs were indeed found on Asha. Shaken Dev listens as Bernie wonders aloud if Asha has attempted to take her own life. A preview picture later in the week shows Asha will recover physically, though concerns remain for her emotional well-being. Dev, meanwhile, struggles to process his anger at the thought of his daughter causing so much pain for the family. He confides to Bernie about his conflicted feelings and later goes to visit Asha, but the question remains, can he truly be there for her? Over at the Rovers, Kirk Sutherland, Tyrone Dobbs, and others gather to talk about Asha's crisis. As they express their sympathy for Dev, the group begins to share their own personal anxieties, agreeing it's better to open up than to keep things bottled inside. Number 2. Abi Webster and Carl's secret romance blown open by a text mistake? During Ronnie Bailey's birthday party, Carl finds himself uncomfortably wedged between his 2 affairs, Abi and James Bailey. When Alfie spills a drink, Carl jumps in to help while Abi wipes it up, their closeness catching Debbie Webster's eye. Furious, Debbie warns Abi to end things with Carl immediately. Debbie later tells Kevin that Abi can't be relied on and suggests he speak to a solicitor. Abi spots the 2 of them talking and, fearing the worst, sends a frantic message to Carl warning him that Kevin has found out. Unfortunately, she accidentally sends it to Kevin himself. Carl scrambles to try and delete the message from Kevin's phone, but the following day, it looks like the damage is done. Kevin refuses to let Abi into the house, making it clear that she's no longer welcome. He demands she hand over her keys, and later Bernie informs Abi and Carl that Kevin has thrown Abi's things out onto the street. With Kevin devastated, will Abi be consumed with even deeper regret when she learns that Carl hasn't been honest with her either? Number 3. Tim Metcalf reconnects with an old girlfriend, but his past hides a disturbing truth. Tim picks up a cab fare and realizes it's Tricia Pinkerton, a woman he once knew back in the 1980s. It also happens to be his wedding anniversary, and Sally encourages him to head to the Rovers to lift Kevin's spirits. When Tricia walks in, Tim admits to the lads that she's someone from his teenage years. Kevin isn't impressed, and the next day Tricia shows up at the cab office. Sally arrives and is stunned to see her there. Sally reminds Tricia that she's Tim's wife and blasts Tim for missing their anniversary dinner, only to spend time with an ex at work. As tensions rise, Tim confides in Brian Packham that he was just 14 when he and Tricia first got involved, while she was nearly 20. Brian is disturbed by the revelation and later accuses Tricia of taking advantage of Tim when he was still a child. Tricia is horrified by the accusation, while Tim lashes out at Brian, but Brian insists Tim must face the reality of what happened. When Sally confronts him, Tim admits that Tricia took his virginity when he was only 14. Shaken, Sally wonders if Tim will ever accept that he was groomed. Number 4. Todd Grimshaw hides his health worries from controlling partner Theo Silverton. Todd feels low and tells George Shuttleworth that Theo still hasn't reached out to him. George insists Todd would be better off without Theo, and later, after Theo discovers Asha in distress, Todd lashes out at him for disappearing. Theo storms away yet again, while Amy reminds Todd that if Theo hadn't stumbled across Asha, the outcome could have been far worse. Later in the week, Todd tells Theo he'd like to be there for him at Noah Headley's funeral, but work commitments make it impossible. Instead, Todd opens up to Billy Mayhew, admitting he has a hospital appointment to investigate possible bowel cancer. He explains he hasn't told Theo, as Theo already has too much on his mind. Todd is relieved when Billy goes with him, and later in the pub he thanks Billy, promising he'll tell Theo once the results are in. When Theo spots Todd and Billy together, his irritation grows, and he bristles even more when Todd says he's agreed to join George and Christina Boyd for dinner. As Theo's behavior becomes increasingly controlling, objecting to Todd spending time with anyone else, how will he respond? Coronation Street has worked closely with Gallup to ensure the storyline accurately reflects abuse in an LGBTQ+ relationship. Coronation Street to explore Todd Grimshaw's hidden health battle in emotional episodes. Next week on Coronation Street, Todd Grimshaw admits to Billy Mayhew that he is awaiting hospital tests for possible bowel cancer. The storyline unfolds on the same day as Noah Headley's funeral, when Todd chooses to conceal the truth from his partner, Theo Silverton. Instead of telling Theo the real reason he can't attend, Todd claims he has to work, though in reality he is heading to the hospital. The only person he trusts with the truth is his former partner, Billy. A show insider explains Todd doesn't want to add to Theo's worries, especially with Noah's funeral and the ongoing custody battle weighing heavily on him. But he promises Billy that once the results are in, he'll be honest with Theo, whatever the outcome. Supportive as ever, Billy offers to accompany Todd, and Todd is relieved not to face the appointment alone. But later, when Theo returns from the funeral and finds Todd and Billy together in the Rovers, he's furious. His temper flares again when Todd reveals he has plans to go out for dinner with George Shuttleworth and Christina Boyd. Our source adds, Theo despises Todd's friends, which is a massive warning sign. He's already tried to control Todd's time with Billy, even resorting to threats. But if he wants to completely isolate Todd, he'll have to take on far more than just Billy. Theo's behavior causes drama earlier in the week, too. Todd confides in George that he hasn't heard from his boyfriend since their evening in the gay village. Not long after, Todd sees Theo shouting for help in Victoria Gardens, where Asha Alahan has collapsed after taking an overdose. Todd lashes out at Theo for vanishing without explanation, yet Amy Barlow praises Theo, insisting that if he hadn't stumbled upon Asha, things could have been far worse. A production source reveals Theo cleverly spins the situation to his advantage. While Amy calls him a hero, the truth is he deliberately disappeared to torment Todd emotionally. George warns Todd that he's better off without Theo, but Todd just can't bring himself to walk away. As Todd anxiously awaits his hospital results, viewers are left to wonder, will his health battle take an unexpected turn? And once Theo discovers the truth about what Todd has been hiding, how will he react? Coronation Street airs Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and is available to stream on ITVX.